Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving straight into what is honestly one of the most insane leveling up moments in all of ancient literature. It is literally like watching a hero unlock the ultimate cosmic cheat code. We're looking at that exact pivotal moment when Arjuna acquires a completely terrifying, world-altering divine arsenal. Just imagine it. You're standing on a mountain peak. You've just achieved what you thought was the absolute peak of victory. And then you realize the universe has something so much bigger and so much heavier in store for you. Well, that's exactly where we find our hero today. We're starting right at the emotional core here. At this moment, Arjuna feels, well, completely untouchable. He's standing on this mountain summit right after watching Mahadeva, Shiva himself, the wielder of the Pinaka, vanish like a setting sun. And Arjuna just boldly declares, "I am already great. My enemies have already been vanquished by me." He's actually seen and touched this three-eyed god in his boon-giving form. So naturally, he's just buzzing with immeasurable energy. He thinks his journey is basically a wrap, that success is totally guaranteed. But oh man, as we're about to see, his journey is really just getting started. Okay, so here's the hero's checklist for this cosmic upgrade. First, the assembly of the gods. Then, Yama's prophecy of doom. Next, Varuna's inescapable noose. Fourth, Kuvera's sleep-inducing weapon, and finally, Indra's heavenly invitation. All right, Section 1, the assembly of the gods. Just as Arjuna is standing there on that summit, riding that wave of feeling totally invincible, boom, the sky suddenly fills with this blazing, overwhelming effulgence. The absolute ultimate authorities of the universe have arrived. But before we meet these guys individually, let's just make sure we're on the same page about exactly who the Lokapalas are. These are the literal protectors of the worlds. They're highly powerful cosmic deities, and their entire job is guarding specific directions of space and maintaining universal order. And these absolute pillars of reality have assembled on this specific mountain summit, totally surrounded by celestial beings, rivers, nagas, and Gandharvas, for one specific reason: to bless Arjuna. Now, the text maps out this cosmic geography brilliantly, giving us a sort of cheat sheet of the sheer immense power converging right here. From the west, you've got Varuna, the god of waters, literally shining with the splendor of lapis lazuli. Up from the heights of Kailasa comes Kuvera, lord of treasures, with a body like pure gold. From the south arrives Yama, the destroyer of worlds, wielding a mace and looking like a blazing second sun. And finally, Sakra, or Indra, the chief of the celestials, rolls up on the celestial elephant Airavata, glowing like the moon amid the clouds. It's wild. Arjuna is completely boxed in by the fundamental forces of nature. Moving into Section 2, Yama's prophecy of doom. Starting with our first encounter from the south, Yama steps forward. Now, Yama has a voice deep as thunderclouds, and let me tell you, he is bringing Arjuna way more than just a shiny new weapon. Actually, before even handing him a weapon, Yama has to grant Arjuna spiritual vision. Why? Because a regular mortal mind literally couldn't comprehend the presence of the Lokapalas without it. And then, Yama drops a massive bombshell. He reveals Arjuna's true ancient past. It turns out, Arjuna is actually the reincarnation of an ancient rishi of immeasurable soul named Nara. Yama explains that Arjuna was born among men under the direct orders of Brahma. Think about how that completely rewrites Arjuna's reality. He isn't just a highly skilled warrior, he's an ancient divine force deployed on a highly specific cosmic mission. And here's the mission. Yama essentially hands him a prophetic hit list. He rattles off these specific, almost impossibly powerful foes that Arjuna is fated to slay. He brings up Bhishma, the highly virtuous grandsire born of the Vasus. He points out these invincible demonic forces, the Danavas and the Nivatakavachas. And then there's Karna, who, mind you, is a literal portion of Yama's own father Surya. Yama looks right at Arjuna and tells him that by wiping out these incarnate celestials and Rakshasas, he's going to be acting right alongside Vishnu himself to lighten the burden of the earth. Talk about terrifyingly high stakes, right? So, to pull off this nearly impossible task, Yama bestows his own personal, irresistible mace. But he doesn't just hand him a heavy club and say good luck. The text is very specific here. Yama ensures Arjuna receives the weapon duly, totally complete with the mantras, the rites, and the deeply kept mysteries of both hurling it and withdrawing it, which is crucial, right? He has to know exactly how to control this world-destroying power so it doesn't accidentally wipe out everything. Next up is Section 3, Varuna's inescapable noose. Let's look over to the west and see how the intensity just keeps building. Varuna, the bluest cloud's lord of all aquatic creatures, steps up to offer his own terrifying addition to the arsenal. Varuna introduces himself and immediately hands over these tools of absolute, unbreakable physical restraint, his inescapable nooses. And the pedigree on these things is insane. Varuna casually notes that back in a massive ancient battle, thousands of mighty Daityas were seized and bound with these exact same ropes. He even tells Arjuna that if Yama himself, the literal destroyer of worlds we just talked about, were to become his enemy, even he wouldn't be able to break out of these bonds. And Varuna's exact warning here dramatically shifts the entire scale of things. He says, "When thou wilt armed with these, range over the field of battle, the land, beyond doubt, will be destitute of Kshatriyas." That is chilling. These aren't just swords for winning a local skirmish. Varuna is straight up telling him that these are weapons capable of completely wiping out an entire warrior class. It's a very heavy, sobering reminder of the sheer scale of destruction Arjuna is gearing up for. That brings us to Section 4, Kuvera's sleep-inducing weapon. Descending from his high home on Kailasa, Kuvera, the Lord of Treasures, steps into the mix to offer a totally different kind of tactical advantage. I absolutely love the tactical contrast here. So on one hand, you have the brutal physical entrapment of Varuna's nooses, literally designed to grab and hogtie your enemies on the battlefield. But then, Kuvera gifts his personal favorite weapon, the Antarddhana. This is a mystical energy weapon, just radiating splendor, and it operates on a totally different wavelength. It's designed to send the foe into a deep sleep. So suddenly, Arjuna has this amazing alternative way to neutralize totally invincible threats, without just resorting to blunt force trauma. And much like Varuna's gift, this weapon comes with some serious ancient lore. Kuvera assures Arjuna that since he possesses the dignity of the Meru mountain, he's fully competent to wield it. And get this is the exact weapon that the illustrious Shankara used to consume the mighty Asuras when slaying Tripura. So Arjuna isn't just picking up shiny magical items, he's literally inheriting the historic relics of the universe's most epic cosmic victories. All right, on to Section 5, Indra's heavenly invitation. Finally, the chief of the Celestials himself, Sakra, or as we know him, Indra, steps up. And Indra, he changes the game completely with one heck of a cliffhanger. Indra's arrival flips the script. Speaking with a voice as deep as a kettle drum, he lays out the final steps to unlocking this ultimate power. First, he validates Arjuna. He tells him, yes, you've achieved the highest success. You've literally acquired the status of a god. But there's a catch. Indra warns him that the purposes of the gods aren't done yet. Basically, just being armed down here on Earth isn't going to cut it. Indra tells him to get ready because his own celestial car, driven by the legendary charioteer Maudali, is coming down. Arjuna has to literally leave the mortal realm, ascend to heaven itself, and receive the rest of his celestial weapons up there. Faced with this totally overwhelming wall of cosmic power and destiny, Arjuna's reaction is actually incredibly grounded. Awestruck, for sure, but he's focused. He doesn't let all this power go straight to his head. He humbly and formally worships the assembled Lokapalas with words, water, and fruits. The Celestials, moving with the speed of thought, return the respect and then vanish, just heading straight back to their own realms. And as Arjuna stands there alone once more, he just feels this profound sense of peace. He knows his desires are completely fulfilled, feeling truly crowned with success. But that leaves us with a huge, thrilling question. We've just watched Arjuna evolve from a highly confident warrior into a divinely ordained, weaponized force of nature. He's holding the mace of Yama, the nooses of Varuna, the sleep weapon of Kuvera, and he's literally packing his bags for heaven to get even more gear from Indra. So when Arjuna finally returns to Earth wielding this unimaginable cosmic firepower, how is any mortal army ever going to stand a chance against him? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning what it truly means when a mortal wields the power of the gods.